Every day, more than 13 million bags of Doritos are eaten around the world. Their irresistible crunch, that fine layer of cheesy powder, and that unmistakable flavor that lingers on your fingers make them one of the most famous snacks on the planet. But have you ever wondered how they're made? What makes them so addictive? Today, we're diving into the secret behind their production, heading to Georgia, USA, home to the largest Doritos factory in the world. It's here that over 10 tons of chips are produced every single day, ready to be packaged, shipped, and devoured across the globe. Get ready, because you're about to discover, step by step, how Doritos are made on a massive scale. It all begins in vast cornfields, the essential raw material of this legendary snack. In a single plot, there can be more than 60,000 plants, each producing 1 or 2 ears filled with golden kernels, ready to be transformed. Doritos works only with strictly selected suppliers. The company partners exclusively with certified growers specializing in a very specific variety of corn. This corn must have the exact balance of starch, moisture, and firmness. These parameters ensure a dense dough, a crunchy texture, and a consistent flavor, batch after batch. Once the kernels have reached perfect maturity, the harvest begins. At that point, massive fully automated harvesters take over. These machines, capable of running non-stop, sweep through the fields at high speed, picking each ear while simultaneously separating the kernels. Thanks to an internal sorting and storage system, the kernels are sent directly into built-in metal compartments, saving precious time. In just 1 hour, a single harvester can collect more than 20 tons of corn, moving with near-surgical precision through the rows of crops. Once full, these machines empty their load into huge transport trucks capable of carrying several tons of raw material. The trucks then head straight to the processing plant, where the real transformation from grain to chip begins. Upon arrival, the trucks unload their cargo into giant stainless steel silos. This is where the industrial process starts. The kernels first undergo an intense cleaning phase. Powerful blasts of compressed air, mechanical vibrations, and advanced filtration systems remove all impurities, bits of leaves, dust, stones, and husk remnants. The goal: perfectly clean kernels, free of any trace of dirt. Once this step is complete, one of the most crucial stages begins: nixtamalization. This is a traditional Mesoamerican process, adapted here for industrial scale. The corn is soaked in large vats of hot water mixed with lime. This combination softens the outer layer, enhances the corn's natural flavor, makes it easier to grind, and even improves its nutritional value. This centuries-old technique is one of the secrets behind Doritos' unique texture. After cooking, the corn is carefully rinsed to remove any lime residue, then transferred to massive mechanical mills. At this point, it's ground into a dense, smooth, lump-free dough. This dough will become the base of every Dorito. However, its consistency must be perfectly balanced. Too dry, and the chips will crack during frying. Too moist, and they'll absorb too much oil and lose their crunch. That's why smart sensors, digital control systems, and highly trained operators continuously monitor temperature, humidity, and density, ensuring the ideal texture every time. Once the dough is ready, it's mechanically spread onto a long conveyor belt, forming a thin, continuous sheet. This sheet must be perfectly smooth and of uniform thickness. It moves rapidly toward a rotating cutter, a giant machine equipped with hundreds of stainless steel triangular molds. These molds cut the dough with millimeter precision, forming thousands of perfect triangles every minute. Each chip size has been carefully engineered: 5 centimeters per side, 1 millimeter thick, just the right size to fit in your mouth without breaking when dipped, while still producing that crisp, signature crunch with every bite. The raw, colorless, flavorless triangles are then carried by an elevator belt to the cooking zone. There, they first pass through a massive industrial oven heated to over 300 degrees Celsius. This pre-bake stage lasts only a few minutes and removes internal moisture. It gives the chips structure and prepares them for frying without deformation. When they come out of the oven, they're not yet golden or seasoned, just plain pieces of dough. But that's about to change. The chips then enter an enormous industrial fryer, where they're plunged into boiling vegetable oil for just a few seconds. This is the moment of transformation. The Doritos puff slightly, turn perfectly golden, and acquire that ultra-crispy texture that makes them unique. The frying process is tightly controlled, so every chip is evenly cooked without excess oil. A filtering system continuously renews the oil, ensuring consistent quality and preventing any alteration in taste. Once fried, the chips rise along slanted conveyors, allowing all excess oil to drain off completely before the next stage. As they exit the fryer, still warm, they're ready for what makes them irresistible: the seasoning. They're directed into giant rotating metal drums that look like washing machines for snacks. Inside, a fine mist of flavored powder is sprayed over the chips as they tumble gently, ensuring every surface is perfectly coated. Each flavor has its own secret formula, developed by food engineers in specialized labs. The classic cheese taste, the fiery flamin' hot, the smoky barbecue, and countless variations tailored to markets around the world. The proportions of salt, acidity, and spiciness are calculated with scientific precision. And it's no accident that the powder sticks to your fingers. According to Doritos' internal research, this tactile sensation creates a strong sensory connection between the consumer and the product, making it even more desirable. To maintain perfect consistency, sensors measure the exact amount of seasoning applied to each batch, ensuring that every bag, whether made in the US, Japan, or Mexico, delivers the same intensity of flavor. Once seasoned, the Doritos are nearly finished. But before packaging, they must pass one of the strictest quality control checks in the entire food industry. The chips travel rapidly along conveyor belts, while a high-resolution camera system and optical sensors inspect each Dorito one by one for even the slightest flaw in shape, size, or color. Any defective pieces are automatically removed and sent for recycling. But the inspection doesn't stop there. Human operators also perform manual checks. They take random samples from each batch and examine their color, texture, thickness, aroma, and even the sound they make when snapped. This crunch test is essential. A Dorito that doesn't crack just right will never be packaged. Only the perfect chips that meet every quality standard move on to the next step. Finally comes the last stage: packaging. The approved Doritos are funneled into large metal hoppers feeding fully automated packaging machines. Each bag is filled with the exact amount of chips, then injected with a neutral gas, nitrogen, to preserve their crispness and prevent breakage. The bag is then heat-sealed in a fraction of a second and labeled. The bags are grouped into batches, packed into boxes, and stacked onto pallets, ready to be loaded into trucks. These vehicles, often refrigerated to maintain texture, head to destinations around the world: supermarkets, gas stations, movie theaters, stadiums, and vending machines. And the most astonishing part? The entire process, from the moment the corn is harvested to the instant the bag is sealed, takes no more than 30 minutes. Every step is timed to the 10th of a second to ensure freshness, flavor, and quality in every Dorito. Thus, a simple kernel of corn undergoes an incredible industrial journey to become one of the world's most iconic snacks. Now that you know how Doritos are born, tell us, did this process surprise you? What's your favorite flavor? If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. But don't go just yet. There's more to come. The next part of this video will be just as fascinating, so stay tuned until the end. At first glance, it may seem like a simple condiment, but Himalayan pink salt is much more than that. Its pink hue is captivating, its price is surprising, and its presence in spas, gourmet kitchens, and wellness boutiques has transformed it into a global symbol of luxury and purity. What's surprising is that, chemically, it is 98% identical to conventional table salt. So why can it cost up to 30 times more? What's so special about it? Some claim it has healing properties. Others denounce it as a marketing ploy. But what no one can deny is that its origin is absolutely fascinating. This salt was formed over 250 million years ago, trapped underground since the age of the dinosaurs. Today, hundreds of thousands of tons of this ancient mineral are extracted each year from a mine in Pakistan, worked with near-surgical precision, and then transformed into sparkling crystals destined to illuminate shelves around the world. But how does this journey really unfold? Who is behind that pink glow that intrigues us so much? Stay tuned as we uncover the long and surprising journey of the planet's most famous salt. The story of Himalayan pink salt doesn't begin in a luxurious kitchen or a health food store. It began more than 250 million years ago, when vast primordial oceans covered what is now South Asia. Gradually, these seas evaporated, leaving behind enormous layers of salt, which were then buried by tectonic movements and geological pressure. This is how the oldest and purest salt deposits in the world were created. Contrary to what its name suggests, this salt is not extracted directly from the Himalayas, but from the Kaura mine in Pakistan, located more than 300 kilometers from the mountain range. There, in an underground labyrinth of more than 40 kilometers of gallery, lies one of the most impressive deposits on the planet. It is estimated to contain nearly 6.7 billion tons of salt. Its discovery, however, is almost legendary. It is said that in the 4th century BC, the horses of Alexander the Great's army licked the pinkish rocks in the region, revealing this buried treasure. This episode marked the beginning of a 1,000-year-old relationship between human beings and this salt. For centuries, local populations have mined it on a small scale, using it as a preservative, currency, and traditional medicine. But it's only recently, with the rise of global trade and wellness trends, that pink salt has become a cultural and commercial phenomenon. Its distinctive color comes from low concentrations of iron oxide and more than 80 trace minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and potassium, although they only represent about 2% of its total composition. These are the things that give it its unique color and its reputation as a healthy salt. Yet, beyond its chemical properties, what truly makes it valuable is its history. A fossil from a vanished ocean, compressed over millions of years, preserved intact under tons of rock, is now extracted by hand in one of the most extreme environments on the planet. It's not just salt, it's living geology, a relic of the past that today graces the landscape with its mysterious splendor. Hidden in the arid landscape of northern Pakistan, at the foot of the Punjab Hills, lies an underground marvel, the Kernel salt mine. It is the second largest in the world and has been operating almost continuously since its discovery over 2,000 years ago. From the outside, it looks like a simple industrial complex, but stepping through its entrance reveals a vast labyrinth of pink tunnels, extraction chambers, and galleries stretching more than 40 kilometers below the surface. Every day, around 500 miners descend to a depth of 300 meters to extract blocks of salt that have lain there since long before the continents as we know them formed. Unlike other mining industries, speed and volume are not paramount here. The process is meticulous. Small cavities are first drilled into the massive salt walls by hand or with heavy machinery. Then, explosive charges are placed with surgical precision. The detonation must release the blocks without altering their crystalline structure. The process resembles a medical operation more than an industrial operation. Each explosion releases enormous blocks weighing between 50 and 200 kilograms, which are then transported manually or on small wagons to the surface. The purest and most translucent pieces are reserved for gastronomic or decorative uses, while those with impurities are used for industrial purposes. Working conditions are harsh. The temperature hovers around 30 degrees Celsius. The humidity is oppressive, the air is heavy, and every movement requires considerable energy. The miners work for hours without seeing daylight, armed with hammers, drills, and impressive endurance. yet the mind is very much alive. Some of these oldest galleries have been transformed into tourist attractions, housing salt car structures, mosques, statues, and even a small train running through part of the tunnels. And despite an annual extraction of nearly 400,000 tons, barely 1% of the deposit has been exploited. This treasure could last for several more centuries. Now that we've seen how this ancient salt is extracted, let's look at the next step: its transformation into a luxury product. Once the blocks of salt are brought up from the depths of the mine, a completely different process begins: the transformation from raw material to refined product. But before shining on store shelves or restaurant plates, each fragment of pink salt undergoes rigorous inspection. It all begins in the open-air storage areas, where the blocks are stacked in huge piles. There, an initial visual inspection separates the lighter, more transparent pieces, intended for consumption, from the darker or more imperfect blocks, reserved for industrial or decorative use. The selected blocks are then transported to the processing plants. Unlike other chemically refined salts, pink salt undergoes a more natural process. It is first washed with pressurized water to remove dust, chips, and extraction residue. This washing is carefully controlled to prevent the water from dissolving the crystals. Then, it passes through vibrating sieves that filter out the remaining impurities and sort the salt according to the size of the pieces. This is when its aesthetic metamorphosis begins. The largest blocks are crushed into smaller fragments, then reduced to fine, medium, or coarse grains, depending on their destination. Technology plays a key role here. Optical scanners analyze each batch to verify visual purity and color consistency. Only crystals that meet the strictest criteria are then dried and packaged. But pink salt doesn't always end up on our plates. A significant portion is hand-carved into blocks, plates, bowls, and lamps. These creations pass through specialized workshops, where saws with reinforced blades cut the material, continuously cooled by water to prevent overheating. Craftsmen then polish each piece to reveal its inner veins and enhance its color, transforming a simple mineral into an aesthetic object. Other factories produce bath salts, scrubs, or massage stones, capitalizing on the wellness image associated with this product. While science remains cautious about its true benefits for the body, its symbolic and visual value is undeniable. From grains enhancing a dish to lamps illuminating a spa, pink salt has achieved a remarkable feat from prehistoric marine fossil to a contemporary icon of natural luxury. Today, Himalayan pink salt is much more than just a seasoning. It's a real brand, a product that, thanks to marketing, has surrounded itself with an almost magical aura. It's attributed with various virtues, including improving circulation, reducing stress, purifying the air, balancing the body's pH, and even protecting against electromagnetic radiation. But what does science really say? From a chemical point of view, this salt remains sodium chloride, like any other. 98% of its composition is identical to that of table salt. The remaining 2% corresponds to trace minerals such as iron, calcium, and magnesium, responsible for its distinctive color and taste. However, these amounts are so small that they provide no significant nutritional benefit. Despite everything, the narrative surrounding it has been enough to transform it into a symbol of well-being and naturalness. It sells not only for what it is, but for what it represents: purity, antiquity, mysticism. And in a world obsessed with authenticity and naturalness, this is priceless. In Pakistan, a kilo can cost less than $1, but once packaged, processed, and exported, it can sell for 10, 20, or even 30 times more in Western stores. As for derivative products, lamps, artisanal salt shakers, and wellness accessories, they sometimes reach even higher prices, especially when they are accompanied by concepts like energy, relaxation, or purification. In short, the true strength of this salt lies not only in its taste. It lies in its history, its aesthetics, and the marketing narrative that surrounds it. It's the perfect example of a prehistoric mineral that, thanks to a captivating narrative, has become one of the most coveted salts on the planet. And most importantly, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming content.